Hey, this is Augie, Augie's Locker Room. When you come to the store, you're going to see things that you've probably never seen before unless you've been to a museum. Great items that go back to the Rockney era to the present. Website, augieslockerroom.com. Visit us here or the website.
A beautiful day here in South Bend on the campus of the University of Notre Dame. It's Notre Dame Stanford tonight. Notre Dame looking for a quick start, Tim. I mean, they don't have a touchdown in the first quarter yet. And frankly, the state of the Stanford football program, having lost 4 in a row, they just had a lead for the first time last week in 7 games. So they're struggling, and I think a quick start by Notre Dame, even a touchdown in the first quarter, would be really, really helpful.
Well, we both joked in our separate hotel rooms. We both went to sleep in Vegas with Stanford beating Oregon State. It was going to be over, and it turns out 11th straight loss to a Power 5 program. That makes no sense when you think about Stanford and what we've seen in previous years. But I still think they're capable, but I agree with you that Notre Dame gets ahead. They can run the ball now. We know their identity, offensive line, running backs. And I wanted to ask you this question. Drew Pine benefiting from it. Drew Pine is starting to augment it, too. And if that happens tonight, Notre Dame will roll. You and I are both wondering if it's a bit of a learning curve, and they just kind of win the game. We both feel the win, of course.
Yeah, and I mean, Drew Pine is really taking command of the offense, I think, and the offensive line is playing really well. And you're right. I mean, Stanford is certainly offensively is capable of doing things. Tanner McKee's going to play in the NFL. He's got a bunch of big receivers. We don't know the status of Tariq Bracy, so they're probably going to move the football, and that's fine. Notre Dame's defense has played well most of the time, 80-20, right? But they've had some mistakes along the way. But they have definitely held teams under their scoring average. If they hold Stanford under their scoring average, which is I think about 29 points, Notre Dame should be able to score plenty to win this game.
Yeah, and I think Notre Dame's defense will hold Stanford to a comfortable amount. Like if Stanford scores 20, that was my prediction because I was kind of putting it high end. That's fine. Notre Dame's going to get yards tonight, too. You don't want to see the red zone redux where it's 1 touchdown in 4 trips, 2 touchdowns in 5 trips. If Notre Dame can get in the red zone and get 3 touchdowns at least, that's huge for this game. And it'd be great to see them get the layup we talk about where they can get kind of a one big play. Or even if it's a 27-yard touchdown throw where it's just not arduous trying to get in and out for scoring. The offense is playing well. I'd love to see them execute well because if they do, then I'm going to be low on that 37-39 range. We were both afraid to say like 49 points because they're capable of it, but I just want to see if that learning curve if they can really kind of get over that hump right now offensively and finish drives.
Notre Dame was great in the red zone in the first 4 games and then struggled against a BYU team that was vulnerable in the red zone. Ironically, with as bad as the Stanford defensive numbers have been, they've been pretty good in the red zone. So Notre Dame needs to bounce back from that. I think that they will. We do expect Drew Pine to do what he does. It's a little breezy up here, but I don't know that's necessarily going to be that way on the field. You just kind of wonder, and I know this is a rivalry, and frankly, Notre Dame's won, or I should say Stanford has won 7 of the last 12 games. Notre Dame has dominated the last 3 by an average of 24.3 points per game victories. But, you know, it's a rivalry. That might be the only motivation Stanford has because they're in a bad way right now, especially after last weekend's loss.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was on the walk-in. I thought to myself, this is the last 6 times it's been here. Last 5 times it's been here. They didn't play in 2020. This has been, good or bad, a season-defining game for Notre Dame. Feel free to look it up. Going back in the Brian Kelly era, 2010, 2012, 14, 16 in a bad way. And then, of course, we remember 2018, the last time they were here. Notre Dame just exploded all over number 7 Stanford. It has usually turned the tide for Notre Dame's season, either extreme heightening or, whoa, there's something wrong here. I don't feel that way in this game. I just feel like a methodical Notre Dame win can happen, but I feel like a lot of Notre Dame fans want to see the Irish come out and play a complete game, and I think that means defensively you don't want to see 2 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter by Stanford, etc.
Right. Notre Dame Stanford here tonight, 7:30 Eastern Time.